Well, new since 5, the Quincy City Council is considering creating a TIF district on the south side of downtown. It would be the third of its kind in the Gem City if approved.
WGEM's Joseph Lawler joins us now live from the proposed district. So Joseph, if passed, what would this additional TIF district mean for the city?
Well, Daniel and Raja, it could mean economic growth and infrastructure improvements. According to Quincy leaders, this new TIF district would allow for revitalization similar to portions of downtown Quincy. They say with an incentive for private investment, the value of this area could see a boost.
It's really capturing that revenue and utilizing it to improve that specific area.
In an effort to redevelop Quincy's rough edges, a proposed TIF district on the south side of the city was brought to the Quincy City Council for a vote. On Monday, aldermen voted to postpone the decision for 2 weeks. Assistant Planning Director for the city, Jason Parrott, says if the TIF district is approved, the 131 properties within the proposed boundaries could see infrastructure updates or public projects to improve the area. He says a prime example of this is TIF West, which was established in 1998.
When that TIF district started, the value of that area was about $5 million, and it's now about $14 million. So there have been a great amount of investment and development in that area.
Parrott says having TIF districts has led to projects like the ongoing 6th Street Promenade construction.
25 years ago when I started here, there was really not a whole lot of activity taking place east of 5th Street.
Community President of First Mid Bank and Trust, John Johannes, spoke at the Quincy City Council meeting to express his support for TIF South. He says he doesn't see any downsides to the idea, as the taxes collected do not affect the general taxpayer.
It's targeted to that area, so that area is paying for it, if you will, but it's all going back into where they're at.
Other business owners have spoke up, other property owners have spoke up. We've really heard the positivity and the potential that this TIF district could do.
Parrott says the hope is that in 2 weeks, aldermen will have their questions answered and a vote would be made. He says 3 ordinances will need passed in order for the TIF South to be established. Live in Quincy, Joseph Lawler, WGEM News.
All right, thanks, Joseph. You can find a map of the boundaries for the TIF South with this story on our website, WGEM.com.